The Finance Ministry has confirmed reports that funds from deals with Bank Negara and Khazanah Nasional were used to pay 1MDB's dues. WSJ reported today that the BN administration turned to the BNM to pay off $500 million owed by 1MDB. In January, the Edge Financial Daily reported that BNM had purchased a 22.5 hectare plot of land in Kuala Lumpur from the government for 2 billion ringgit. The deal sparked speculation that the cash from the sale was used to pay IPIC. Asked to comment, Central Bank Governor Tan Sri Muhammad Ibrahim had said that it was the government's business on how it uses the proceeds. Meanwhile, citing sources, Reuters reported today that the previous administration had also used money raised from a deal with Khazanah to make payments to IPIC. In response, Khazanah confirmed that the MOF did redeem outstanding redeemable convertible cumulative preference shares amounting to 1.2 billion ringgit in 2017. However, the state investment arm says it has no control over how the funds were utilised. The government's debt stands at 1.087 trillion ringgit, or a whopping 80.3% of GDP. That's a big leap from the official figure of 686.8 billion ringgit, or 50.8% of GDP. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng explains that this new figure includes government guarantees for entities unable to service debts, which amount to 199.1 billion ringgit, or 14.6% of GDP. These entities include Dana Infra Nasional, Prasarana Malaysia and 1MDB. There are also lease commitments for public-private partnership projects totaling 201.4 billion ringgit, or 14.9% of GDP. Former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Razak had warned that the new government's debt announcements would unsettle the financial markets, among others. However, Lim said today that it was time to bite the bullet and take concrete actions to regularise and strengthen the country's financial status. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail will push for the setting up of an EPF savings account for housewives. The proposed contribution will comprise 2% of the husband's salary and 50 ringgit from the government's coffers. She will meet with EPF CEO Datuk Syahril Ritza Ridzuan next week to discuss the mechanism as well as the eligibility factor. Also on her to-do list is the formation of a special team to tackle the issue of obesity and stunted growth, particularly those from poorer families. Wan Azizah, who's also the Women and Family Development Minister, also plans to review laws on domestic violence and carry out an audit to improve the PERMATA program. Media Prima saw its first quarter net loss narrow to 21.8 million ringgit from 38.5 million a year earlier on higher revenue and lower operating expenses. Quarterly top line grew 3% to 280.7 million ringgit as the conglomerate made more from its digital advertising, content and commerce segments. Operating expenses shrank 3% to 302.4 million ringgit. The group says it will continue to up efforts to accelerate revenue-generating initiatives. It will do this by maximizing its assets and leveraging on its extensive reach via digital and non-digital platforms. Peng Yuan Refining Co. is setting aside 700 million ringgit in capex over the next 1 to 2 years to finance 2 cornerstone projects. These will be the Euro 4 Mogas and Atlas 2 at its refining complex in Port Dickson. Chairman Wang Yude says the projects are essential for the company to enhance operational reliability and capture commercial opportunities. It will also enable it to comply with upcoming regulations on gasoline and diesel specifications. Going forward, the refiner sees margins picking up in May after witnessing a plunge in net profit in its first quarter on a lower crack spread. The improved margins will be due to the pickup in oil prices, although they may not be as good as last year.